One of my favorite shows to watch when it first started was Star vs. the Forces of Evil. It was a show that I fell in love with and made me want to talk about animated series. However, like most fans, I was unhappy with the final season. There are a few reasons I was upset with it, such as leaving the feeling that it was rushed and left me wanting more. That's why, like many other creators, I thought of how the series would continue. I'm Marcus Strange, and this is how I would write a Star vs. the Forces of Evil continuation. Before I begin, I want to explain this in more detail. How I would write is just me giving my thoughts as a writer on how to continue a series. My video is only meant for fun, and I'm in no way connected to Disney or Darren FC. So how will this work? I'll give a brief explanation of what the continuation should be, in my opinion, and then give a quick description of each episode. When I get to certain points in my description, I'll explain why I made those choices. Also, there will be ideas I took from other creators, which I will also point out when I get there. So how would Star vs. the Forces of Evil continue? Many creators have taken different approaches to how the series continues. Some have gone with a time skip that sets things into the future. Others had it take place around the same time frame as the final episode. For my idea of a continuation, I'm choosing the latter. One of my complaints with Season 4 was that it ended with me wanting more. It ended with Earth and Muty being cleaved together, making me wonder how things have changed, what's different about the world now. It made the finale come off more as a starting point for a new series instead of a conclusion. So my series would start right after the finale, where Star and Marco say hi to each other. Episode 1 will be a half hour and focus on Star and Marco right after the finale. They would start off happy to see each other and oblivious to what's happened. After talking about how happy they are to be together, they stop and look around them. They finally realize that their dimensions are now one and see everything like the Monster Temple and Muty Castle. Eventually, Nachos would appear and land next to Star and Marco. Next, they would decide to fly around and get a better view of what is now Earthny. As they're flying, Ponyhead flies next to them. Marco would ask how she's flying, even though magic is gone. She would respond in her usual way of talking and say something along the lines of, "I don't know, ask someone that cares enough to know that stuff, Earth Turd." Then Star would bring up how she and Marco are dating, leading to Ponyhead asking a million questions to them. After flying for a while and having Marco close to going insane, they eventually fly near Marco's home. He and Star decide to stop there to make sure his family is safe. When they go in, they find Marco's family with Eclipsa, Globgor, and Meteora. Marco's parents explain they saw them and invited them home after remembering Star and Marco watching Meteora for them. Star asks if they've seen her parents, and both families tell them they haven't. While she's concerned at first, she's still happy to be with her boyfriend. The episode would end with Star on the roof looking up in the sky. Marco joins her and knows she's concerned about where her parents are. Marco assures her that they'll find them, but Star tells them that's not it. In truth, she's worried Moon might try to do something again and might put monsters and humans in danger. Marco says he's sure Moon learned her lesson, and the episode ends with Star hoping he's right. Episode 2A involves Star and Marco going on their first date at a fancy restaurant. They both approach it awkwardly since they've hung out multiple times, but feel they have to act differently. For example, Marco goes overboard with complimenting Star. In comparison, Star thinks she has to be more reserved and polite. Eventually, both of them get annoyed and ask each other why they're trying to do things differently. Just because they're dating now doesn't mean they have to be different. The episode ends with them running off and seeing what crazy thing they could get into like usual. For 2B, I'd make it a Tom and Janet episode. Since Marco and Star are busy on a date, they decide to spend some time together. Like the last time they hung out, Janet's out trying to find a giant boot. She says there should be a bunch after what happened with Mina's soldiers, and Tom is just going along with it. Eventually, they run into Mina, leading a few mutants to try to take over again. However, Tom and Janet fight them off, and Tom uses his powers to beat them. Janet asks how Tom is still able to use magic, and he reveals that demon powers are different from magic. It ends with Janet intrigued and asking if he could teach her those demon powers. Episode 3A will involve Star and Marco looking for Moon and River. They're not having any luck though, so they decide to stop and take a break at Brita's Tacos. However, when Star and Marco get there, they see a couple of monsters trying to steal food. They decide to fight them off, but they're having some trouble compared to how easy it was when Star had magic. Luckily, Bullfrog shows up and helps them fight off the thieves. After police show up thinking Bullfrog was behind it, Marco's sensei uses security footage to show Bullfrog was helping stop the thieves. It ends with the police apologizing, while hitting some humans are unsure that monsters are good. Episode 3B will involve Star and Marco walking around, and Marco will get hit in the head with a basketball. Star turns to see where it came from, and she sees Ludo waving with his brother Dennis. They walk over, and Ludo apologizes for hitting Marco. They talk a little longer until Ludo asks if they want to play a game against him and his brother. They agree, and it ends with Ludo and Dennis getting a win. The episode ends with Star and Marco saying good game, but Ludo acts evil, saying next time there will be more at stake. As Star and Marco look at him concerned, he laughs and says it's a joke. Or is it? Episode 4 is another half-hour episode that focuses on the rulers of Mutiny coming together. Mutiny is still an independent nation at this point, and its leaders are meeting to discuss where they go from there. Star and Marco are attending this meeting because Star has been helping Eclipso run things since Season 4. While there, Star runs into Princess Spiderbite and Slime. Star's happy to see them and tells them how she's looking for Moon. However, once Star mentions her mother, they change from smiling to looking uneasy. Both of them view Moon as an enemy because she created the Solarian army. Star wants to defend Moon, but Slime brings up how Moon caused this. They ask Star if she thinks Moon will try this again, but Star doesn't reply. Before they go on, the meeting starts. It makes sense for Moon to be hated by monsters. Moon did create an army that wanted to kill every monster in Mutiny. Her just telling Star sorry shouldn't just be treated as her being forgiven. Yeah, Moon agrees it was wrong to trust Mina, but what's to stop her from trying this again on her own? More on that later. When the meeting starts, all the rulers are concerned about what should happen now that Mutiny is part of Earth. They're big enough to be a sovereign nation, but they wonder if that's the best thing for them to do. After airing out more problems, Eclipsa finally stops them and says she has an announcement. She wants to give up the throne to spend more time with Globgor and Meteora. While this may be shocking to them, it makes sense she'd want this. Throughout Season 4, Star was doing everything for Eclipsa, like trying to build relationships with other rulers. However, Eclipsa realizes she isn't fit to be queen, especially when Mutiny needs a real leader to come in and help lead them into the future. She says she does know the perfect person to replace her, and she's a former queen as well. As she's saying that, she's looking over at Star. However, before Eclipsa can name who she wants to be her successor, a familiar voice is heard saying she wants the throne again. After waiting for so long, Moon makes her return. She says that she respects Eclipsa's decision to step down, and she's ready to take back the throne. She also adds that Mutiny was prosperous during her time as queen, and that she's the perfect choice to take over. Before Eclipsa could comment, Star interrupts asking, "Will the monsters be safe while you're in charge?" So the idea for this came from reading Starry-Eyed Butterfly's version of a continuation. Like in their story, Moon and Star would still argue about this topic. For example, Moon will say she didn't want to kill monsters. Star would shoot back by asking why would she trust a nut job like Mina in the first place. Eventually, Eclipsa steps in and says the best way to settle this is with a competition. However, mine is different from Starry-Eyed Butterfly's version. In their story, it was just one competition to decide who the next ruler would be. Instead, I think Star trying to become queen should be a season-long arc. No disrespect to Starry-Eyed Butterfly, whose story I do enjoy. I just have a different opinion on how this story should go. If you're interested, I'll leave a link to their story in the description. So how will a next ruler be crowned in my story? Eclipsa explains that there will be 3 competitions. Whichever team wins 2 will be the next rulers. Both Star and Moon look confused until Eclipsa points out that they will need a partner. Moon chooses River, and Star chooses Marco. The first competition for them is rowing. Both teams have to work together to row past the finish line. They start even, but Star is trying to go faster as she's still worried about Moon taking over. However, Marco is having trouble keeping up, and they're both out of sync. This causes their boat to start moving in circles. Marco tries to tell Star to calm down, but Star just yells back at him. While they're having trouble, Moon and River keep in sync and cross the finish line. Back on land, Moon is standing next to her supporters celebrating. At the same time, Star and Marco are arguing with each other. Marco is trying to explain that they were fine until Star went overboard, but Star says she can't let Moon win. They continue to argue until both blurt out that maybe we're not meant for each other if this is how we act when things are bad. The episode ends with both of them walking in separate directions, wondering if that is true. And that was part 1 of how I would write a Star vs. the Forces of Evil continuation. Sorry to leave it on a cliffhanger, but I promise part 2 will be up next week. Also, I apologize that I couldn't go more into detail with each episode, but I'll make a compromise. I have a fanfiction account. If this video gets 5 likes, I'll start writing out the whole episodes on my account. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Also, if you're interested in seeing more of my writing, I do have a book on Amazon. The link to it and all of my social media accounts will be in the description. Last but not least, if you want to see more of my videos, then check out my previous content, such as my top 4 fairy tale waifus list. I'm Marco Strange. Stay safe, stay strange.